Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Assembly Committee on Health and Human Services. Members, I'll remind you to turn on your cameras and mute your microphones if you're not speaking, and to unmute yourself if you do want to speak. And at this time, I will have Madam Secretary call the roll.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assemblywoman Black.
Here.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Here.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Here.
Assemblywoman Krasner. Assemblyman Matthews.
Here.
Assemblyman Orentlicker.
Here.
Assemblywoman Peters.
Here.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Here.
Assemblywoman Thomas.
Here.
Assemblywoman Titus.
Here.
Chair Wynn.
Here. I would note we have all members present except for Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, who I had asked to be marked absent excused, as well as Assemblywoman Krasner, and I believe she might be presenting a bill in another committee at this time. So if she does appear, I would ask that she be marked present, and I will try to keep an eye on that as well. And with that, I'd welcome our audience joining us on this virtual meeting. Today we have our first work session. Isn't that exciting? I wanted to let everyone know that we are going to proceed with the work session document that I believe was provided to all of you, I believe last week, or at least the work session bills that we were looking at, and that work session document went out, I believe, yesterday, and it is up on Nellis for the members of the public. It went up there as well. And let's begin with Assembly Bill 16. And I'm going to turn this over to our policy analyst, Mr. Ashton, to go and summarize the bill and any potential amendments, and we'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Committee Policy Analyst of the Legislative Council Bureau. Just a reminder, as nonpartisan staff, I can neither advocate nor oppose any measures that you will consider today. Members of the committee, you should have received the work session document by email, and as the chair already mentioned, you can find it on Nellis. We will begin the work session with Assembly Bill 16, which we heard on February 17. Assembly Bill 16 prohibits the state registrar and any person or governmental organization from charging a fee for the issuance of a certified or official copy of a birth certificate or record of birth to a person who submits documentation from the Department of Corrections that the person is currently imprisoned. There were no amendments. Madam Chair?
Thank you, members of the committee. I'll just remind everyone, we do have most of the bill presenters or people to answer any questions. Again, I'll remind everyone this isn't a time to rehash the policy of the bill or rehear the bill. But I do know that I heard from a couple of Assembly members, and I don't know if they have any questions or comments that they would like to make regarding the bill. I heard from several of you. So if you do, if you can just let me know, I will put you in view mode so I can see everyone. I don't know if anyone would like to make a statement for the record or have a question. Yeah, go ahead, Assemblywoman Titus.
When you're ready, I would like to go on record of moving to pass AB 16.
Do I hear a second?
Assemblywoman Gorlow, I will second.
Thank you. And with that, because we have any comments on the motion, I should say? Sorry. Nope, I don't see any. Okay. And because we are in this, we would normally do a voice vote, but because we're in this virtual setting, I'm going to ask Madam Secretary to please commence a roll call vote.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assemblywoman Black.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Matthews,
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentlicker,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus,
Yes.
Chair Wynn.
Yes. So that passes, that motion carries. And I will assign the floor statement to Vice Chair Peters. And with this, we'll begin the work session on Assembly Bill 26. And again, I will turn this over to Mr. Ashton to describe the bill and summarize the bill and any possible amendments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Legislative Council Bureau. So next bill on our work session document is Assembly Bill 26, which we heard on February 15th. This bill clarifies that the annual report regarding the Fund for Energy Assistance and Conservation, prepared and submitted to the money committees by the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services of the Department of Health and Human Services, must specify the amount of money in the fund that has been allocated to and received by the division on or before June 30th of all preceding fiscal years, and remains unspent and unencumbered as of December 31st of the fiscal year in which the report is being made. This bill also clarifies that the division may be required to distribute a certain percentage of money in the fund that is unspent and unencumbered on or before June 30th of all preceding fiscal years to the Housing Division of the Department of Business and Industry. There were no amendments. Madam Chair?
Do I have any questions from the committee? Do I hear a motion?
So moved. To approve.
I have a motion to do pass. Do I have a second?
Second, Chair
A
Peters.
second from Vice Chair Peters. Again, Madam Secretary, can we do a roll call vote?
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Black,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Matthews,
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentlicker,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus,
Yes.
Chair Wynn.
Yes, and again, the motion passes. I will assign this floor statement to, well, it has to do with energy and powers and utilities, so I'm going to give it to Assemblyman Hafen. And with that, if we can move on to our next work session, we are going to begin the work session on Assembly Bill 35. And again, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Ashton.
Thank you, Chair Wynn. Next is Assembly Bill 35, which we heard on February 22nd. This bill consolidates two financial assistance programs for senior citizens and persons with disabilities, financed by the Fund for Healthy Nevada, into a single program. This bill also revises eligibility requirements for the consolidated program and removes language stating that certain senior citizens and persons with disabilities are entitled to assistance under the program. There were no amendments. Madam Chair?
Members of the committee, do we have any questions? And with that, I will entertain a motion. I don't see any hands. Oh, do I see a hand?
No, I have a question on AB 35. I need some clarification, please.
Go ahead, Assemblywoman Titus.
So, I apologize for not picking this up sooner. I actually have two questions, and I think legal, we just need some clarification, or I need clarification. It's more of something that I need clarification on. Under the bill, when I pulled it out again to be prepared for today, I just need to know one section, in section 6, it lists people's 60 years of age or older. And then under section 13, it lists people 62 years of age and older. So those two age differences, is that going to be different services depending on, I thought it was all for 60, and then I picked up that the one section said 62. And so was that intentional?
I think Ms. O'Krent is on the call.
Carly, I'm sorry.
Go
Chair,
ahead.
can I? Okay, I'm sorry about that. I accidentally turned my camera off. So section 13 of the bill is a definition that's applicable to chapter 612 of NRS. And the remaining provisions of the bill deal with chapter 439 of NRS. So to the extent that the bill is consolidating the two programs, the definition 60 years of age or older would apply.
Assemblywoman Titus, you're muted, and I believe you probably have a follow-up.
Yes, thank you, sorry. So did you think that was intentional that they only wanted it 62 under section 13, or was that a type error? I just wanted to clarify that.
I think Assemblywoman Peters might have an answer to that question as well.
So, yes, thank you, Chair. During the hearing, I did ask for clarification on this, and it was purposeful in part because they were changing only for this specific program, and that 62 was a revision to ensure that that program didn't get changed in addition to the specific ones that this.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't pick up on that. And then also the final clarification that I need is, and just for the record, it's my understanding that I did ask the question during the hearing on whether this would increase costs because there wasn't a fiscal note, but it did say on it that it might affect the state. And we were told then that there's actually a list of folks. So there really shouldn't be any additional cost because there may still be a waiting list, et cetera. And I just wanted to confirm that this did not have a fiscal note.
Good afternoon, Ricky Robb from Aging and Disability Services. For the record, there is not a fiscal note attached to 8035.
And is that clarification? Is that because there's going to be a waiting list and you're not really expanding the number of people that might get the services? Because if you expand the number of people getting services, there should be an additional cost, but there's still only going to be so many openings. Is that what I'm hearing?
Ricky Robb, for the record, correct. So there's X amount of openings per the current budget. And should they exceed that, it would be a wait list.
Thank you. And that was mostly for clarification. And with that, if there's nobody else that has any question, I'm going to move for passage.
Do I have a second for Assemblywoman Titus's motion to do pass? I see Assemblywoman Gorlow. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
So I have a second with Assemblywoman Gorlow. I will have Madam Secretary take a roll call vote.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Black,
No.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes,
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Matthews,
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentlicher,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus,
Yes?
Chair Wynne.
Yes. And with that, the motion passes. And I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Gorlow. And we'll move on to the next work session on Assembly Bill 62. And Mr. Ashton, can I turn that over to you?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Assembly Bill 62 we heard on February 10th, and this bill authorizes the state treasurer to include certain procedures for the administration of the Nevada Able Savings Program in any regulations adopted by the state treasurer relating to the program. The bill also authorizes the state treasurer to apply for and accept any gift, grant, donation, bequest, or other source of money to carry out the program, and requires the state treasurer to deposit any money so received in the endowment account established for the program. Finally, this bill authorizes money in the endowment account to be used for contributions to savings trust accounts. There were no amendments. Madam Chair?
Thank you. And with that, do we have any questions from the committee? I'm looking here. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moderate the trend. I'll move to approve. Move to pass.
Second.
How about I give the motion to Vice Chair Peters, and I will give the second to Assemblywoman Titus. And with that, I would ask the Secretary to do a roll call vote.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assemblywoman Black.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner. Assemblyman Matthews.
Yes.
Assemblyman Orntlicher.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus.
Yes.
Chair Wynne.
Yes. And that motion passes, and I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Thomas. And let's go to our final work session on AJR 1. Mr. Ashton, will you summarize the bill and the amendment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Assembly Joint Resolution 1 we heard on February 10th. And this resolution proposes to amend Section 1 of Article 13 of the Nevada Constitution by replacing the description of persons who benefit from institutions fostered and supported by the state from insane to persons with a significant mental illness, blind to persons who are blind or visually impaired, and deaf and dumb to persons who are deaf or hard of hearing. And this resolution has a couple of amendments. First amendment is proposed by Jennifer Richards, Chief Elder and Disability Rights Attorney, and you may also see the attached document. And on page 1, line 7, insert or persons who have an intellectual or developmental disability before the word and. This addition is intended to ensure that all persons with disabilities are included under Section 1 of Article 13 of the Nevada Constitution, including persons with intellectual or developmental disabilities. Amendment 2 is from Assemblywoman Titus, and she proposes to add certain primary joint sponsors and non-primary joint sponsors to the measure as outlined on the bill page. Chair Wynne?
Thank you. Do I have any questions from any of our members about the AJR 1 as well as the proposed amendments?
Chair.
I think I see Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair Wynne. I just wanted to, may I ask if Senator Titus had given consideration to my suggestion? Is that how you do that? I'm new, so bear with me.
Assemblywoman Titus, did you have, I think she's asking if you gave any consideration to her amendment.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I felt that that was pretty well covered by the, as I had responded to you, I thought regarding the state's recommended amendment and adding the whole intellectual disabilities that we would cover that. If you still have concerns that we need some clarification language, again, we want to get this right because it is a constitutional change. So if that didn't solve your question then, and you could reach out when we get this over to the Senate, and again, we can do the same amendment process if you needed further clarification.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Titus. I appreciate that. And thank you, Chair Wynne.
No problem. Do we have any other questions from committee members? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to amend and do pass.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a second from Assemblyman Hafen. Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Black,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Matthews,
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentliger,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus,
Yes.
Chair Wynne.
Yes. And that motion passes, and I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Titus.
Thank you, Chair.
And that closes out our work session for today. Pretty successful first work session. Thank you, guys. And at this time, the committee members, we do have 3 bill draft requests from the Legislative Committee on Healthcare. It was an interim committee that met and had several recommendations that were voted out of that legislative committee during the interim. They do require a committee introduction, and I would like to introduce them today. Please note that by voting in favor of introducing the BDR, it does not imply a commitment to vote or even support the measure later. The action just allows the BDR to become a bill and be introduced at the floor and referred to the committee for possible hearing. We are going to start with BDR 38-449. It requires the state plan for Medicaid to include coverage for services of a community health worker in certain circumstances. Do I have a motion to introduce BDR 38-449?
So moved.
Second.
Do I have a second? Was that Assemblywoman Peters and a second by Assemblywoman Titus?
Got it.
That was Gorlow.
Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'd ask our secretary to commence a roll call vote.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Black,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Matthews,
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentliger,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus,
Yes.
Chair Wynne.
Yes, and that motion carries. Thank you all. The next committee BDR that we'd like to introduce today is BDR 38-452. It expands Medicaid coverage of postpartum and other services for pregnant women. Do I have a motion to introduce BDR 38-452?
So moved.
I believe that was Assemblywoman Gorlow. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I think that was a second. Was that Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. And Madam Secretary, may we commence a roll call vote on this motion?
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson, Assemblywoman Black,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Matthews,
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentliger,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus,
Yes.
Chair Wynne.
Yes, and that motion passes as well. Next, we'll move on to BDR 40-453, which revises provisions governing the testing of pregnant women for certain sexually transmitted infections. Do I have a motion to introduce BDR 40-453?
So moved.
Oh, I don't know who that was.
Thomas.
I hear a motion from Assemblywoman Thomas. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's like Jeopardy. I'm going to give that one to Vice Chair Peters, that second. Madam Secretary, if we can commence a roll call vote.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assemblywoman Black.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Krasner. Assemblyman Matthews.
Yes.
Assemblyman Orentlicker.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Peters.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Thomas.
Yes.
Assemblywoman Titus.
Yes.
Chair Wynne.
Yes. And that motion carries as well. Thank you guys for making that as smooth and quickly as possible. I think we were pretty efficient today. With that, we will begin public comment. As a reminder to those providing public comment, please clearly state and spell your name and limit your comment to 2 minutes. Staff will be timing each speaker during public comment to ensure everyone is given a fair opportunity to speak. Staff in our broadcast services and production, please add the first caller to the public comment to the hearing.
Hello, Chair. The public line is open and working, but we have no callers at this time.
Okay, wonderful. Do we have any comments from members before we adjourn? Sounds good. This concludes our meeting for today. I wanted to remind members that we will not be meeting in HHS on Friday. I don't know what our schedule is going to look like for next week, but I do know that we received quite a few more bills. So I anticipate that we will have hearings on the committee bills that have come out of the interim, as well as some of the individual member bills that are pending. I know we have some bills that have been submitted that people have been working on, so I'm hopeful that they are pretty much near soup so we can start processing those bills through our committee. So pay attention for the Monday and Wednesday and Friday calendars of next week. But with that, the meeting is adjourned.